about this book. It's about the United Nations Development Goals. But I haven't read it yet. It's by a Danish author. It's very thoroughly done anyway. No. Oh, I love brains. All right. Oh, sorry. I hope you're good. Do you know a book seat? It's really practical. The book seat. It's invaluable. You know, when you are reading, you place it in your lap and the book here. And this one keeps it at its place, the right place. And then you flip the pages. I'm sure a lot of you already know it. I love it so much. You can purchase it in bookstores and online. The book seat. So if you read a lot, or just sometimes, or even study, you might want to consider getting one of these book seats. All right. Come on. Is it okay? Well, anyway. This book is about veganism. Vegan food. Okay, where to start? Let's start from the top and work ourselves down. Delphine de Vigan. She's a French writer. I'm sure some of you know her. I recently started reading this book. It's about her family history and her mother and her grandparents and her sisters and brothers and a big family living in Paris in the, I guess it was the, well, decades ago. And her mother was very beautiful. I am not sure if this is the mother, but I think so. And the mother, named Lucille, she's, I guess you call it manic. She suffered from alcohol abuse. She was a young wife the time she got pregnant for the first time. And Delphine de Vigan write the story about her family. The original title It's a very impressive book. The original title. Oh, I can't pronounce it in French. Rien n'est supposé à la nuit. I highly recommend you to read this, especially if you are European or wherever you come from. It's a fantastic novel, and I'm not even halfway, but I am waiting for Lucille, the mother, to become manic, or I think it's borderline. Yeah, I think it's called borderline. This is another book from the same author, Delphine Devegan. I haven't read it, or I haven't started it. In Danish, the title is based on a true story. She wrote this book 4 years after this huge success. I can't wait to read this one as well. Delphine Devegan is now 54 years old. This is Delphine Devegan. Alright. Now we are going to talk about something a little bit more serious. Or whatever. Here, with these books, we are going into another world of female or oppression of women. This young man, Yahya Hassan, he was, I think, 18 years old when he got published in Denmark. That was in 2013. He writes about his life. It's poetry. Hard-hitting poetry. Written with capital letters. It's the most sold poetry collection ever in Denmark. He sold, I think it was 200,000 copies. It might not sound a lot, but it's in Denmark it is. We are 6 million people here. Anyway, he writes about, let's put it like it is. Yahya Hassan is dead. He died in the summer this year. So, yes, we don't know how he died. But his mother found him in his apartment here in Denmark. Anyway, Yahya Hassan writes about the hypocrisy in certain Muslim societies. He's not an Islam critic. This is poetry about his childhood. It caused a media storm in Denmark. Of course, especially from the Muslim society. But for example, he talks about the hypocrisy of young Muslim men sleeping with Danish girls, drinking, and at the same time they think they can just go to the mosque and pray and then everything is okay. They still claim they are Muslim. Enough about that. I wish I could read it to you, but if you find this in English translation, I would definitely recommend that you read it. It's a rare insight. That was Yahya Hassan. And then Mona El-Zahawi. She is an Egyptian woman, a bright Egyptian woman, and a very hated woman in some circles. Hence the subject. This is Mona El-Zahawi, and I heard her. I think it's called it's like an interview on a stage here in Denmark. She visited Denmark a couple of years ago. She writes about women, and she is fighting for women rights, especially or mostly in the Arab Muslim countries. Let me read what it says on the back. When Mona El-Zahawi wrote the article, Why Do They Hate Us? About misogyny and the fundamental problem in the Arabic world, it created international debate, and it should. This book, let me read you the title in English. In Danish, jomfruhinder and hijab. Hijab is the scarf, of course. Jomfruhinder means, I don't know if I pronounce it right. A hymn. You know the thin skin at the entrance of a woman's, vajayjay, yeah. Headscarves and hymns, headscarves, and why the Middle East needs a sexual revolution. This one is just brilliant. That's all I have to say. El-Zahawi shows how women in the Arabic world have had two revolutions. The Arabic Spring, where they fought with Arabic men about the repressive regimes in the Middle East and Northern Africa. And the other one about or against the whole political economical and social system that reduces women to become second-rate citizens in countries like Yemen and Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia. And Elsa Howie, she listened to these stories. She's a strong, independent woman, Elsa Howie, but she listened to the repressed women's stories. And this is a prayer to get up and fight against the system. Only a few people dare to get close to touch religion and culture. And the poisonous environment many Muslim women live in those areas of the world. Last one about that subject. This book will scare you half to death, I'm telling you. Sarah Omar, I really hope that she's translated into English. You have to read this book. Sarah, she wrote a greeting. Dear Louise, thank for the support you give. Love, Sarah. Sarah Omar. Anyway, this is literature about a young girl living in, I think it's named Kurdistan, in Turkey, down where Turkey is, and she lives with her grandparents. I won't tell you much about this book because it's absolutely a page turner. You won't believe what you're reading. It's insane. And we don't really know if Sarah experienced all this herself, or if she also, like Mona Eltahawy, listened to a lot of stories or did some observations and then wrote this book. You can't believe what is happening to this young girl in this story. Read it. And its name, directly translated in Danish, it's named The Shadow Dancer. The Shadow Dancer. Yeah. And I actually helped Sarah, and a lot of other women, we helped Sarah create sort of a promotional video, 1 minute long or something, the time it came out. I think it's translated into English. It's a nightmare going on for this girl. It's a nightmare. Yeah. If enough about this part of the world. Turtles. Wine gum. Right. This book is also amazing. It's called Blomsterdalen, the Flower Valley. And the Flower Valley, it's a cemetery situated in the eastern part of Greenland, in the city of Tasiilaq. As some of you might know, Greenland holds a very sad world record. A lot of, especially young people, kill themselves, commit suicide. You can actually talk about a suicide culture. We don't really know why. There are a lot of different reasons. And in the Flower Valley, in the eastern part of Greenland, all these pink and blue and orange plastic flowers is placed on many of those graves. And in those graves there are a lot of people who committed suicide. It's a young author. Here she is. Her name is Niviak Corneliusen. And let me give you an example of what she's doing in this book. Niviak Corneliusen has written her debut in 2014, and it took her a while to write The Flower Valley. Throughout the story, Niviak lets the reader look at the sentences, read the sentences. Here you see the number 45, and it says, woman, 38 years old, committed suicide by hanging. And this is a true story, true situation. These sentences is like a countdown from 45. And here is another one, 37. Also a true suicide. Girl, 15 years old. She also hang herself outside a sort of a wood shop with a cord. Anyway, all these suicides is a countdown. I can't say more than that. You have to read the stories yourself. And since not a lot of people in Greenland, or the authorities at least, talk about suicide and how they can prevent young people from committing these horrible acts to themselves, Niviak said to a Danish newspaper, I write about suicide because you don't. I talk about suicide because you don't. It's not because she wants to talk about suicide all the time. I think Niviak is about 30 years old, and her debut, obviously she was about 24 This is an American writer, and many of you might know her. Maya Angelou. This story, Maya Angelou died in 2014. This is sort of a biography where she writes about her life in America in the 60s. It's called a classic, and the true title is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I have read it. It's an amazing story. Isn't it a beautiful cover? With its orange and yellow. Sun and the blackbird. And yes, she was a writer and a very active person in the civil rights movement. And an artist like Madonna also refers to her when she became Woman of the Year in Billboard 2016 or something. She referred to Maya Angelou when Madonna fought the hardest with herself and the surrounding society and the misogyny and the hate and the bullying. She said she found comfort in stories by James Baldwin, Maya Angelou, and a few other authors. James Baldwin is also a civil rights. He also fought for civil rights, especially for the black people, the black community in America. This is James Baldwin. This book is actually sort of a script from the documentary I Am Not Your Negro. I Am Not Your Negro. I got this book for free right after they, in a bookstore in Denmark, right after they killed a white police officer, killed that black man in the street, in an American street this year. It's so sad. Then I got this book from the Raisin Social Justice Library. It's an international bookshop not far from where I live. I also highly recommend to look him up, James Baldwin, if you are into literature about the struggle, black people's struggle. Then I really have to talk about this book. When you look at it, this author, Sarah Baum, she wrote an absolute amazing novel about a man and a dog. A man and a dog. The descriptions in this book are so detailed that is insane. Every sentence is loaded with information. I don't know how she did it. Oh, it's a bit dusty. I borrowed it at the library. But it's absolutely amazing. It's her debut. Yeah. And there are a lot of praising reviews from The Guardian, The Irish Examiner, The New Statesman, Sarah Baum, and the title in Danish, Ville, vokse, vakle, visne, means spill, simmer, falter, wither. Spill, simmer, falter, wither. Like the Four Seasons. It's the most amazing book. I think it's my favorite book. It's amazing. Sarah Baum, she loves the language, obviously, and it's also a moving story. Sarah Baum. Yes, I guess we're about to finish up. It was nice seeing you again. Oh, wait. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. Sorry. If you are an introvert, a fellow introvert, or a combination of extrovert and introvert, whatever. Perhaps you know this one. The Advantage of Being an Introvert. By Marty Olsen Laney. I think it's from, it's almost 20 years ago. The book was published. The Introvert Advantage. How to thrive in an extrovert. How to thrive in an extrovert world. Find yourself in this book. Find comfort in this book if you are an introvert. I love being an introvert, but it took me years. I'm 44 now. It took me years to embrace myself and my introversion. And why is that? Yeah, that's exactly how what it says in the title, right? The Fordelen ved at være indadvendt is the Danish title. Fordelen ved at være indadvendt. Anyway. And why did it take me so long time to embrace myself and my introversion? It's exactly what it says in the title. How to thrive in an extrovert world. We all know the world is very extrovert, and be an extrovert in school. You have to be an extrovert in school. I struggled so much in school. Exactly doing group assignments, group work. I hated it, and I sort of still do. Thank God I'm not in school anymore. But I'm a grown-up now, and I don't care anymore. I just say no to things I don't want to participate anymore. I don't care if people look at me like she's not very social. I am social, but I just, it's exhausting. Sometimes it can be really exhausting to talk with people. Sometimes can also be uplifting, but there's one great advantage I'm pretty sure of that you all know about, dear introverts and extroverts, if you are here too as well. You like in-depth search, in-depth look, in-depth reading, peace and quiet. So books and ASMR. I'm not sure it gets better than that. Books and ASMR. I also love audiobooks as well. Anyway, the advantages of being an introvert. Well, I have to talk about this book. I haven't read it myself yet. It's by Richard Dawkins. This book, I get goosebumps. Look, just thinking about it. This story is about a journey all the way back to the beginning of life, to the beginning of life, when life began. And this book is, if some of you know Richard Dawkins, that he's an atheist, to say at least. So this is written from the perspective. Oh, he's a professor and an expert, but it's written from the perspective of course, evolutionary perspective. This is Richard Dawkins. I also got a signature from him when he was in Denmark some 1 year ago. Now the book festival every year here in Denmark is cancelled this year because of Corona. Let me read some of the title of some of the chapters. Chimpanzees, gorillas, eastern apes, western apes, lemurs, small mice, rodents, rabbit types, possums, sewer animals, I guess it's like amphibies, lungfish, sharks. So you see, we go all the way back. A few photos from the book. Look at this. Many years ago, this is how our world looked All right. The original title in English is called, The Ancestor's Tale. The Ancestor's Tale. I have to start reading this book. It's a 4 billion year long pilgrim's journey back to when life started. Amazing. All right then. Thank you for listening to me, to joining me here at my little bookshop or book stand here. As you see, I love brains. As you can see, books about brains, stories about brains, how the human brain works. If we understand our brain, we understand ourselves much better. I think it's very important to understand this organ. We have a man in Denmark. His name is Peter Lund Madsen. That's him. He's a brain scientist. He's a doctor and a brain scientist. And he has written a lot of books about the brain. I love this man. I love his books and his knowledge about the human brain. Okay, take care of your brain. Listen to ASMR. Read books. Take care of your organ. All your organs. Purchase a book chair. Put it in your lap. Put some ambient music or quiet, relaxing music on. And then just eat some candy or fruit. Or do you like my short hair?